Good afternoon, my Teaserking friends, my Teaserking family. So I did my football show early, and now I'm going to do my economics, just a short show. I don't know. I used to break them out into sports, and I used to do them all together. Then a lot of guys wanted it. They wait for the economics, so they wanted a separate football. I mean, this college football is very long and tedious, and all the studying I need to do. So I don't know. I'll have to do a short show on economics during the week. So let's look at our gold price, 25.50. Sometimes I do this and it doesn't work. The futures are 25.85 up 43. So I was just in it. So the gold price is like 25.58. And the site goes like blank for whatever reason. So today's Thursday. I think by tomorrow, hey Pat, I think by tomorrow we could see 2,600 in gold very easily. There's really no dips left. The U.S. can't really do the derivatives. They don't have any gold to do it with. London's been doing some derivatives, but they haven't really slowed anything down. I'm really getting frustrated listening to some of these people who just don't understand anything. And they do their like silver stackers or silver dragons or silver that or Heckle and Jekyll or Yankee Doodle Dandy. These guys are so clueless. They're just old men who open a store and they're selling gold and they don't know what to do with it because the price is going up. They don't understand that it's been fixed and that it's not being fixed anymore. And that we're going to this gold-backed currency in brics. I like how Trump says, well, if you go away from the dollar, if you de-dollarize, then I'm going to sanction you. Well, or they're going to tariff them. Well, it really doesn't affect China or Russia because you're not using them. And then I don't think it affects China because they're not shipping much. They will attack tomorrow, but it will fail. No, I don't think so. Silver is unleashed. Well, silver is at almost 30. If I can get my, I can't get my data, but it'll come up soon. It's been acting weird. There's probably so many hits on it today. We'll try it later. Hey, Greg and John. Well, silver, regardless where it is now, we know it's going to be 1,000, 2,000 an ounce. That's where it's headed because it's gold. Gold will get so high. And as people get aware of the dollar going out, they'll go, oh, silver's money too, not a rock. And then people will start buying silver because it's cheap. And again, the demand should push the price up. COMEX can play their little games, but I think once it gets over 32.5, it's gone. Just like gold, it needed to get over 25.30, and now it's at 25, I don't know, 58, 25.60. I think we'll see 2,600 tomorrow. I don't think the U.S. can do much, and they've been hacking it, and it's gone up. So I don't know there'll be a drop back tomorrow. I think it'll go to 26 tomorrow. They'll try to fight it maybe on Monday, but it's gone. There's no derivatives in there in the system after 25.30 to stop it, but we'll see. So I'm tired with people not understanding gold. I was listening to some idiot. I'll take you to this Fed idiot. I was looking at Southern Italy villages. I'm going to go to Southern Italy in October. I booked the hotel. The hotel was the hard part. These villas there are like 10, 20,000 for a freaking week. Found one for like 1,200, and I was like, okay, great. There's probably in different cities around there. It's the whole kind of coastline. But let's see. Okay. Looks like UPS is going bankrupt too. So here's this idiot, Daniel DiMartino's. See, we used to work for the Fed. Now you understand why the people who are running the Fed and work for the Fed are all idiots. So I will give you.
Hey, this is what I do almost every weekend.
We don't give a fuck. Get off my channel.
Probably not going to
fuck off.
And I think that's why we've seen trading was lower than it was in September 2008. And that was, of course, the month that Lehman Brothers collapsed. And then we got that jobs Friday after it. So it's very apparent right now that the Fed is behind the ball and that they really do need to play some catch up. Judging from what Austin Goolsby's saying, though, we're not going to get it. I don't think that they're going to have a choice by September the 18th. I think that they will have to go 50 basis points. They can try and talk a mean game, but as the data momentum continues, I think that they'll be left without a choice at a certain point, or they're going to appear to be completely obtuse or insensitive, really, for lack of a better word. It's a 50-50 toss-up. If the Fed was to come out with an emergency rate cut right now, it could validate investors' worst fears. They could say, gee, the Fed thinks things are so bad that they're having to do something that normally would be reserved for happening in the middle of a financial crisis. I'm afraid that a minor meltdown in the U.S. stock market is not what the Fed would consider to be justification for coming in with an emergency rate cut at this point. If we start to see contagion into the credit markets, completely different story. I think that we will see Fed officials leaning that way in the days to come. And of course, Powell, the content, the theme of this year's Jackson Hole is so nebulous, the transmission mechanism of monetary policy. He can make his speech be whatever he wants for it to be. The Jackson Hole speech is its own tool in the monetary policy toolbox. So he can have that broadcast whatever he wants for it to be, whether it's a Fed that's going to be more aggressive. But you know what? He's got some really close, good top lieutenants, Christopher Waller being one of them. I would be paying attention in the coming weeks, again, depending on where the data go from here, but I would be paying attention to what they have to say even before Jackson Hole. It was interesting, Jim Bullard, who is, of course, no longer with the Fed, he's now the head of Purdue's business school, but he was on the wires today saying that an emergency rate cut would send the wrong signal. And unless there's a credit event, and Jay Powell's boogeyman by far is if bond issuance was to dry up. And that is actually something that is within the Fed's purview. The stock market is not. But if we start to see credit drying up, that is something that could cause the Fed to be prompted for an emergency rate cut. We did have 10 investment grade bond sales scheduled for today that I don't believe any of them priced, and that's investment grade. So if there is contagion into other markets, all bets are off. If you think of the Fed released its senior loan officer survey today. Why does it conduct this survey every quarter? Because it's concerned, and always should be concerned, about the amount of credit that's being fed into the U.S. economy. If one of the main mechanisms of allocating credit, the capital markets, was to seize up and you would see bond issuance dry up, that is within the Fed's purview. And it wouldn't take that long. We had a record 41 days in late 2018, which prompted Powell to pivot. And what happened in those 41 days? Not a single junk bond was sold. So
okay, so this woman's out of her fucking mind with these statistics and the Fed and everything. Doesn't get any of it. And she used to work for the Fed, and this is why they're all talking Keynesian, and this is why it's a disaster, because you've got idiots like this in there.
That will definitely get him acting if we start to see days after days after days with no issuance in the market. If you're studying the data in its revised form, for goodness sake, we had 192,000 net job destruction in the 3 months ended September the 30th, 2023. So we're definitely there if you're looking at the revised data. Of course, that's not what Powell tends to cite when he's at podiums and what have you. But no, even job creation of 114,000, given we know that immigration has gone up as much as it has now raised the bar. You must be creating 175,000, 200,000 jobs a month in order to absorb the population growth and the growth of the workforce.
What the fuck is she talking about? Job creation. I mean, she doesn't even get it. First of all, the government doesn't create the jobs. The jobs are created by the private sector, where people open up shop. And if you want to fuck around with their taxes, and she doesn't even mention fucking up the dollar and in the inflation. She doesn't even get. That's the topic, not how many jobs were created. Who gives a fuck? That doesn't mean anything.
Into the labor market, if we stop hitting those goals, and again, the unemployment rate's at 4.3%. The underemployment rate is at 7.6%.
The fuck does that mean?
This is off of a base that started with 5. There are more Americans working full-time jobs and part-time jobs at the same time. But there's an overabundance of data that justifies 50 basis points. The reporter asked Jerome Powell that question when he was at the podium, and he could not come up with an answer as to where he felt inflation was going to be coming from. And that is the biggest problem right now. If you look at Truflation, TRUflation, it's got a 97%
That's a made-up
correlation.
word.
Truflation gave us the raw data back to January of 2012. That means it's almost perfectly aligned with headline CPI. It was at 1.54%. That means that future CPIs are going to be printing below the Fed's 2% target. And that's something I believe, remember, this is Jerome Powell, Esquire. He's a trained lawyer. So he follows other data sources, and I promise you he knows that the inflation
Why is a lawyer running a financial thing? Does that make any? That'd be like having a baseball manager managing the football team. Why would you have a lawyer in charge of finance? He doesn't know anything, right? And it's obvious. He talks Chinese, and this woman worked for the Fed, talks Chinese too. She does a good job talking fast and not making any sense.
Has been
There's a gold part I want to get to.
A pulp, and now we're actually in a very precarious situation. As the chief economist at ADP said a few days ago, if Powell is looking for inflation, he's not going to find it in wages.
I applied to over 200 tech jobs and got rejected from every single one of them.
I don't care.
And that is the most insidious form of disinflation that exists, is wage disinflation. That's the real risk right now. And by the way, the Fed does not have tools to fight that. You have food prices falling, for heaven's sake. Yes, outright deflation in real time. In food, Americans are buying less food. You've got home prices that are turning very hard, Rents are coming down. We only had 47% of the new apartments that were coming out of the construction pipeline in the first quarter even rented out. That means 53% were not rented. So the largest input to inflation is going to come down and come down hard. It's going to be very problematic for policymakers.
Geez, I thought the inflation was printing money. Oh, I guess I got that wrong. What the fuck is this woman talking about? How is this? There's no wage inflation. There's no disinflation. The market sets prices. That's it. What the fuck is she talking about?
To begin pondering in this environment because they've waited for so long. It's been since last July that they've waited, and rates are higher than they've been in years and years.
There's a gold
They're going
section.
to have some explaining to do in terms of why they didn't go in July. Why didn't you go in July 2024 when the tea leaves were all right there for you to read? Unless there is kind of an immaculate conception type of moment for this economy, and we see stocks just go rip every risk asset in the world, if that was to come flying back and corporate America was to stop doing things like, Intel took an $8.5 billion loan and then they say, hey, we're going to lay off 20,000 people. So if you can get corporate America to stop cutting jobs as aggressively as they are, you're going to have a better chance. But right now, corporate America they've got their machete out. We've seen more CEOs replaced in the last 6 months. We've seen 1,100 CEOs replaced. Why are they being replaced? So they can replace workers with AI or get rid of them. And that's exactly what corporate America is doing right now. We're hearing it every time we hear an earnings call. It's also, if you want to get your stock to pop, what do? Fire people. If the S&P 500 was down 3%,
how about sales
the emerging
increase?
market MSCI index was down 4.2%. The Mexican peso got destroyed. Any proxy, anything that is tangentially attached to the carry
Another
trade
word I
is being
don't know what she's talking about.
absolutely pummeled. And in addition to that, what people are not talking about, which is highly relevant, is that the Bank of Japan cut its quantitative easing program in half. The Bank of Japan has quietly been pumping money into the global financial system. The global financial system loves liquidity. It loves any source of liquidity. When you take that away, and they're the last of the Mohicans, they're the last central bank that had been engaged in quantitative easing. When you cut that in half, boy, markets are not going to like it. Nobody can quantify the size of this. The bigger risk, the much bigger risk, is parity, low vol. There are certain strategies that are underlying the stock market that if they start to unwind, in addition to the carry trade unwinding, that's when you start to see kind of a cascade effect, and then you see potential for there to be disruption in the credit markets. So I think one of the hallmarks of the current earnings season is you're hearing so many companies miss the top line. And you can do all kinds of accounting magic with your bottom line and play all kinds of games to make your profits, to make your bottom line work. But we are seeing one company after another miss their top line. That is how recession manifests. That is how you see a recession. It's when companies' sales are declining. And that is exactly where we are today. And that is how recession bleeds up from Main Street to Wall Street. It's when you have things begin to go wrong during earnings season, and we're seeing
Maybe that's why they're laying off the CEOs, because they're stupid, and they're letting people go because they're not making money, not because of AI. What the fuck's AI going to do? How could AI do my job? It's impossible. What the fuck is you talking about? All right, I think we're coming up to gold.
Until the Fed lowers interest rates, historically speaking, equity markets do not correct. That is history. Until the yield curve completely uninverts, which, by the way, it did for a hot minute today, scared the dickens out of the market. But until the yield curve moves into positivity, equity markets do not tend to correct. We could theoretically whipsaw around here. We had stocks up a day last week. The NASDAQ 100 was up 5% in one day. 5%. The NASDAQ was down, I think, today 3 and change. But still, we had a day last week that the NASDAQ, and that's exactly what 2000 looked like. If you go back and look at the stock charts of the year 2000, prior to the market finally falling out of bed, you had tremendous volatility in markets. And I think that that's why we're seeing own volatility, go long volatility, be ready, because if you're not already in it, you're going to miss the move. And that's exactly what happened at the open. The VIX went spiking to the highest degree since the 90s. And that's why you have to be positioned in order to take advantage, take profits. When all of a sudden risk assets correlate and completely fall out of bed, I think the only thing that sort of behaved today was gold. It's critical to look at the history of gold, because even in disinflationary, deflationary moments, if there's a financial crisis, gold tends to outperform. And you're also seeing people pile into gold. People in China, central banks around the world are buying as much gold as they can get their hands on. So this is typically the stuff of, Neil Howe's fourth turning type thing. People are trying to buy insurance because they feel like they've been living in a drought for so long that their house might burn down. That's when gold really shines, is when you're using it as a protective mechanism for the rest of your portfolio. We know that there are a lot of margin calls being triggered right at the beginning of the pandemic. We saw gold underperform, not for long, but it definitely underperformed, because if you're holding onto this stock or this asset class and you get that margin call, you're going to raise liquidity where you can. And I think that that's why we've seen gold behave relatively better than other asset classes. In the 19th.
Oh, you mean it wasn't because of demand and we're on Ponzi schemes central? This is what this idiot has no fucking clue what she's talking about. Gold is not insurance. Is a Rolex insurance? Is a mantle card insurance? What the fuck is she talking about? This is what pisses me off. Here she worked for the Fed. I have understood 3 words of what she said until we got to gold. It is not insurance. It is not. It's an asset like a Rolex. Okay. Why do you buy a Rolex? Why do you buy a Van Gogh or a Picasso or a mantle card? Because you want to make money. Why are we buying gold? Because we want to make money. They can't print gold, so therefore it's just like a Picasso. It's one of one, and that's it. And gold is an asset. I don't know why people can't understand it. It's an asset. It's an investment. You are trying to make money with it, and right now we're doing pretty good today, right? 25.58. So, at what point is she not grasping? Gold is not all the cent. Why are all so? Ask the question: why are all the central banks in China buying gold? Because they don't want to hold U.S. dollars, because the U.S. dollar is going out, which would mean, they're printing the money to zero. But she doesn't understand that. She doesn't talk about it. It's over her head. She would rather talk about deflation and making up words that don't mean anything. This is a whole Keynesian problem. So these are the morons. You got a lawyer and you got this idiot running the money, and we wonder why we're going broke, because they're looking at unemployment, prices, which are not inflation, wage inflation, which there's no such thing. If wages go up or down, wages go up or down. It's not inflation, deflation. Inflation's inflating the money supply, period. It isn't now Joe's making more money at his job. That's not inflation. There's no such thing. How is that inflation? The guy gets paid more at his job. All right. So basically, it's because the dollar's worth less. They might be paying more, maybe, but it doesn't make any sense. So this is the problem. You get these idiots doing this, and she can't. She's talking about the Fed, which I never listen to the Fed. They're just clueless. So again, it's everybody's buying gold. It's not really insurance. Insurance is, you buy car insurance in case you get into an accident, but it doesn't mean you're going to get into one. You're buying gold, A, as an investment in an asset, and B, because the dollar's going to zero. So if you understand what inflation is, printing of the money, making it worthless, your money's going to zero. So it's not insurance in case the money goes to zero. I own gold. It's the money is going to zero. And therefore, I need something that is going to have a value, and I'm buying gold, not as insurance. I'm trading off. I'm taking my dollar and buying it here. I'm taking my phony toilet paper and I'm buying this with it. Is this insurance? No, this is not insurance. This is going to zero. I better do something before all my money goes to zero. And that's what this is. And gold. I'm buying this. I don't look at it as I'm buying insurance, right? Because the car insurance is only there if you get in an accident. Otherwise, it's worthless. Gold is not worthless. And we are not getting into an accident. We are watching the dollars go to the bottom of the ocean. So therefore, this is not insurance. This is an asset, same as a Rolex and a mantle card. There's no difference. Why people don't understand gold, they don't want to. They're into toilet paper. Why don't they understand the dollar? Why don't they understand inflation? Why don't they understand there's no such thing as deflation? If prices are coming down in apartments and houses and food, it's because there's no demand for it. People aren't shopping and buying. Okay, that's not deflation. There's no demand. It's just like what I showed you on China, where the guy has nobody in his the the restaurant shut down, the hotel shut down because there's no demand. That's not deflation. That's called the market reacting the way that is. What a fucking idiot. I saw that. I really you've got to be kidding. I got to take that out of my remove from watch history. Here's one where the guy, Trump wants to, if you de-dollarize, Trump wants to put a tariff on you. Here's Russia's answer to that.
I'm 56, and my husband says I have the jaw and neckline of a 26-year-old. How did I do it?
He's a liar. So they all know the U.S. is going to collapse. He's a narcissist. I love it. Yeah, she's just plain stupid, huh? Look how everybody, the U.S. is collapsing.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget.
So the U.S. is just killing themselves with all these sanctions, making a lot of enemies. Let's see. Here's UPS is you owe 1,139,860, fired 500,000 employees, UPS nationwide layoffs. So we don't really have to get into that, but here we go. I like this one. This is from Michigan. The guy on the right is like a senator, and he's going, "Why the hell are deceased people on your voter rolls?" To Michigan. In other words, you're letting dead people vote. No, I don't think so. This idiot wants to talk about the CPI inflation report. All I could do is laugh at him. It's not even real. It doesn't measure inflation. CPI inflation report. That's just, it's nonsense. Where is it? How is it inflation? And here's what I've been watching. NBA legends and players share greatest Larry Bird. Apparently, Larry Bird was a real dirty talker and was kind of a strange guy. Germany bans Islamics and begins mass deportation. That's good news because you gotta feed these people and house these people. They're not capable of. The problem with these people coming over the border or in all these other countries, they're not able to get their jobs and buy their own and rent and food and everything. So you have to take care of them. They're like babies. Well, this is the problem with this type of what do you call it? People coming into your country. I want to call it inflation. I know that's not right. Anyway, people coming in, they're like babies. They come in, they probably don't know the language, the Islamics, and they come in, and what do you do with them? Oh, we got to give them money. We got to give them a place to live so they can. Yeah, we got to give them money for food. The fuck you doing? Why are they here? If they can't manage on their own, they shouldn't be here. This is ridiculous. This is the problem, right? And then we got to pay for it, and then we end up going broke. Here's an interesting one. China's spy network is in the U.S. blown open. So let's watch this for a minute.
If you see your state, you can register online to vote right now. It only takes. In September 2021, after Kathy Hochul became governor of New York, Sun was appointed as deputy chief of staff. In November 2022, on the morning of September 3rd, the FBI arrested two Chinese American citizens, Linda Sun and her husband, Christopher Hu, at a mansion in Long Island, New York. Sun is accused of being a secret agent for the Chinese government. At the same time, media outlets reported that due to this case, China's consul general in New York, Huang Ping, has been expelled from the United States. The U.S. has recently been intensifying its efforts to investigate how Chinese diplomats are conducting transnational repression in America. They're cracking down on illegal Chinese government agents. The Linda Sun case has shaken the Chinese American community, highlighting how deeply the Chinese government has infiltrated both U.S. government agencies and Chinese diaspora groups. Since this case is the third Chinese spy case to enter U.S. legal proceedings in the past month, following the Tang Yuanjun and Wang Shujun cases, it has further drawn attention to Beijing's intelligence activities in America. People are curious about who Linda Sun really is. How did her arrest also lead to the expulsion of China's consul general in New York? A case involving espionage charges has now escalated into a matter affecting U.S.
So I think you get the point. There's a lot of bullshit, a lot of Chinese spies here. you know, it's just insane. I think Zuckerberg married a Chinese agent, and Bill Gates married a Chinese agent. They're so stupid. Then this is, if you're ever going to Europe, this 50 most beautiful villages, and that's where I'm going, is that village, and then 50 villages. And so when I'm in Italy, I can see if I want to go somewhere else. If you have cataracts or vision problem, you should take castor oil. And what you do is you just put it on your eyelid, and it sinks in, and it breaks up the crystals. It's like my gout in my foot. That's what the eye gets, right? The cataracts are crystals over the eye, and the castor oil will destroy that. This woman's great. This is Barbara O'Neill. I highly recommend her. I've been having the Celtic salt, that blue salt I show you. I take a little, one or two, and drink before I drink and then I drink my water. My back's fine. My feet are fine. I'm like, this is great. So things that, it's amazing if you find the right foods to eat, how healthy you become. All right. We got an Egon.
The era of Shangri-La and money printing and saving the world by fake money, that era is totally gone. I'm not a prophet of doom and gloom. It might sound like it. I'm just someone who looks at risk, as you know. And that's why we went into gold 20 years ago. I recommended to our investors and many of our investors into gold in a major way, because gold was the best solution to a risk situation in the financial markets that I saw already 20 years ago. So we haven't seen the collapse, although we almost had it in the subprime crisis. It was patched up temporarily by massive money printing. This time they won't succeed. This is still really a consequence of what happened in 6-9. Nothing was resolved then, and it always had to come back. And of course, now it comes back with global debt being about 3 times higher than it was in the early 2000s.
This program is gaining huge attention.
Shut the fuck up. So there's Egon, and it says the same thing we already know, but it's okay to hear it. But basically, so the dollar is going out, the Titanic's sinking, and we get off the boat. And what people aren't understanding, there's a thing I was going to put in my title, and I couldn't think of it. I just thought of it. It's like, by the time you realize that you need a lifeboat, there won't be a lifeboat to get. In other words, when the dollar's going out, by the time most of these idiots realize that they need gold, it'll either be 10, 15,000 an ounce, or you can't find any. That's your lifeboat. It's just like the Titanic. Until you finally realize, when the boat's like 99% in the water, you need to get off the boat, and all the lifeboats are gone. Well, that's what's going to happen here with the dollar and the euro and the British pound and all that. They won't realize that they need the lifeboat until the lifeboats aren't there. Gold will be gone, and it'll be much more expensive. And they won't realize that. So this is my point. What I keep screaming about is, you can't wait to buy gold. I have people that I've been telling, well, I'll buy it later. I'm like, you don't understand. You're not going to be able. Why wouldn't you buy it at 1,800? Now you want to buy it at 25.50? Let's see if I got a price on it yet. The site came back on. Here we go. Silver, 29.86, having a big day. Gold, 25.58, having a huge day. Up 46. I don't know that it's going to drop tomorrow. I think when it gets close to 2,600 is when it drops. And they can't really do too many derivatives. Anyway, this is not real. This is a pricing mechanism set up by the government to try to price fix gold and silver and all the commodities, sugar, orange juice, coffee. They price fix it instead of letting the market dictate. And it's really dangerous to do that because you don't know. We do not know what the real price of gold and silver are. This is not the real price. This isn't close. Yeah, I would say it's with what's happening now. I would say gold's probably 25,000, the real price of it, and silver is probably 2,000. With what's happening with the BRICS and the wars and BRICS going to a gold-backed currency and the dollar going out, massive inflation. If you think inflation is 2%, you don't know what inflation is. You can't measure it. How do I measure this? This is down 99%. It's lost 99% of its value. How the fuck do I say inflation is 2% now? How is the dollar stronger? In what world did the dollar go down? It's 99% lost its value to what, 98%? Well, let's measure inflation in prices. Then we can hide what it really is because it's the government printing the money, but they don't want to admit that. How do you get 2%? Well, we don't include food and energy. Well, then how do you get 2%? Well, we pick 5 things and that don't move much, and then that's how we call inflation. It's a bigger Madoff than Madoff. They make Madoff look like a Boy Scout. This is the biggest con job scam I've ever seen. Inflation's 2%. Oh, it's down to 2%. And how are you calculating it? Oh, well, it's not the money printing we're calculating or the value of the dollar losing its value. We're doing prices. Well, in a recession, you can't raise prices. People can't afford it, so they buy less. And if you're a Coke or a Pepsi or Chips Ahoy or Oreos, your sales, you have to make sales. Otherwise, you go out of business, right? If there's no customers, you can't stay in business. Well, what are they doing? So they can't raise their prices because nobody can afford to. Are you really going to buy Oreo cookies now or Frosted Flakes? No. So you can't make the prices up. So the price has to come down to sell it because people have less valuable money. The money is worth less, so it takes more money to buy other things. So how are you calculating inflation of 2%? That means that the value of the dollar has gone up. And in what world has the value of the dollar gone up? Twilight Zone? You're out of your fucking mind. That there's no way it's 2%. And not only that, that's not how you calculate. It's money printing. Oh, we printed another $1 trillion to pay our $36 trillion debt. Okay, so in what world does that make the dollar stronger? Because the dollar is controlled by volume. So the more you print, they're not worth anything, right? As I showed you the Mahomes card, this is worth something because it's 50 count and it's Mahomes. It's the player and it's 50. Now, if the same card is in the set without 50 count, it's probably worth $2. Oh, you mean so because it's limited to 50, it's worth more? Yes. So how does the dollar have any value when everybody wants to de-dollarize? Nobody's buying your debt. Nobody's buying your T-bills. How in God's name are you fucking trying to tell me it's worth more? How can it be worth more? How can the prices be going down as your explanation of inflation when it doesn't wash? That is not what inflation is. It is not the value. It's the value of the dollar because you're printing. It has nothing to do with prices. Why? Where did that come from? That somebody came up with this great idea and everybody went along with it. Oh, it's prices. We'll do year over year prices to measure inflation. Well, what the fuck is that? That's what, Keynesian? That's some bullshit. That's not how you measure inflation. How many dollars did you print? What's the dollar worth? Oh, nothing. Yeah, that's how you measure inflation. You can't use percentage. It's just the dollar has no value. It's worth, if you had $100 it's worth like $2 or a dollar. A dollar. This is why I tear it and I fold it. This dollar's worth about 1 cent. What can you buy with it? You could used to buy like a pack of juicy fruit was like 25 cents. Now, but $10 probably. Um, you can't buy anything with that. It has no value. How the fuck is inflation? What do you do? What are you measuring it in prices year over year? Who wrote that said that's how we're going to measure inflation? Oh, well, we won't include everything that's gone up, like houses and energy and food. We won't count that. Oh, that sounds like a real good way to measure inflation. What? And please don't believe it. Inflation is, you can't measure it in percent. All it is the dollar is worthless. That's all you need to know. That's what they've inflated the supply of money, and there's no way they're taking it back. The only out is to do what they did in Germany. You come out with the Reichsmark went to the Deutschmark. That's how they stopped the hyperinflation in Germany, because they ruined the dollar. They ruined the Reichsmark. So the Deutschmark came out. That is what saved them, and it didn't save them for long. I got a good thing on Hitler. Hey, Luke. Yeah, I got you 25.58. How about that? And silver's near 30. See, be patient. Still running by. All right, now you're pretty glad you bought 2 more ounces. Well, wait till tomorrow when it goes to 2,600, on our way to 3,000. So good for you, Luke. So how does Germany get out of their hyperinflation in the 1920s? All right, they have to pay for the war. They print the money to pay for the war. How did they have to pay for the war when it was the fucking whole world? Nobody won World War I. And they get the price. Oh, you pay for it, Germany. So they go broke with the Reichsmark. The Deutschmark saves them, but it's not backed by gold. It has no value. So what does Hitler do? He wants, his whole idea is war. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So in 1932, he takes over. 1933, he wants to build tanks and planes and boats and submarines, and so he comes across with, oh, I've got jobs for everybody. You get to wear this neat uniform. So he puts everybody in the military, but he's got to feed them, and he's got to get them guns and ammunition. He doesn't have any money. What does he do? Because the Reichsmark's not worth anything. He needs pounds and French francs and US dollars and gold. He doesn't have any of it. So he creates, now keep in mind, what is the medium of exchange? Something that will value. Why is this worth anything? Because the government says it is. It's always been worthless since we got off of gold. It's never had a value. So he creates this new money, and it's just debt. And he says to there's Bosch and there's Mercedes and that, we need you to make engines for our planes and our car. We need new cars, because it was all horseback back then. And he says, I'll pay you in this, but you can't use it until, we have real money. So it's all a credit system. So he's paying them. And so you got $10,000 of credit, sort of like what we have now, right? If you got $10,000 in the bank, it's all credit. You really, it's not worth anything, but you think it's worth something. Oh yeah, but this is worth something, isn't it? This has a real value because it's a real coin, right? This has no value. So you're all being duped into thinking, especially your friend Luke, I got 4 million credits. It's like Chuck E. Cheese. You got 4 million credits. It's not worth anything. So Hitler goes and he creates this whole credit system, which is medium of exchange. So people go to work and they get paid in this, and they can go to the store and use it. So it's a beautiful Adam Smith medium of exchange, except for the only people that recognize it as anything is Germany. Nobody else recognizes it. So here comes 1938, 1939. He's getting more of an army, but they tell him, well, you're broke. You can't go to war. How are we going to feed anybody? Where are you going to get the bullets? So he starts invading Czechoslovakia and Poland and all that. And what does he do? He steals the gold and the food and the materials and the manufacturing plants. He steals it all. He's the mafia. He makes the mafia look like Boy Scouts. So he goes in and he steals all this stuff. And that's where they got gold, and that's how he fed the people, and that's how he got the machinery and the equipment to make his stuff. That's what he did. That's why it was a blitzkrieg, because they couldn't last 5 days, right? If they just moved very slow to invade these countries, they couldn't do it. They didn't have the money to do it. They only could do it if he blitzkrieg, because you got to do it in a day. You can't. We don't have food for you for a week. And so that's what he did. So he went into Belgium and Brussels and the rest of the vegetables and Czech and Poland and France, and he stole all their gold, and Goering stole all the paintings. And that's what he did. Now, they still had this bullshit currency that was worthless to anybody outside of Germany. And they had the gold, so they should have come out with gold-backed currency. And then they started printing British pounds, and they were gonna flood the market and basically kill the British pound. But they saw it as, wait a minute, we can use this to buy stuff instead of, because it's so good of counterfeit. So instead of killing the pound, we won't kill it, we'll use it. So they kept printing it and using it. That's how the medium of exchange works. So Hitler did all this with no money. He had no money because the Reichsmark and the Deutschmark were worthless. And that's how you get out of the hyperinflation. You come out with new currency, but it's got to be backed by gold. You can't just say, yeah, I got this toilet, I got Charmin, and now I got Northern. So yeah, this is still worth nothing, which is what we have. So you tell your friend Luke he's got $4 million in credit that isn't worth anything. Then let's get his. You want to get him back? Then we'll get him back. Let's see how he reacts to that. $4 million of nothing. Or he could trade it in at this point for gold. But as we see, gold's up to $25.58 today. Pretty soon he's going to be paying $2,600 for, well, $27 if you count the premium. Pretty soon it's going to be $3,000. That's a lot less gold he could have bought than if he bought it at $1,700, $1,800 when I was bitching and moaning, going, buy gold now. Don't wait. And everybody, I'm the sky is falling guy, right? Oh, no, the sky's not falling, unfortunately. I wish it was. So that's really how the Nazis did it. They basically just created a fiat currency, basically, that was worthless. It sounds like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has a value. Bitcoin doesn't have a value. People that think Bitcoin has a value, you got very lucky, Luke, to get in and out. And anybody else in our class here who had it and got out, great. If you have it, you get the fuck out. It's worthless. Don't for a minute think it's got a value. It isn't money. If you want something with that, I would sell it at $50,000 or $60,000. Go buy a Rolex. Go buy the mantle cards I show you. At least I'll hold the value, or I'd prefer you buy $60,000 worth of gold. So like I showed you on that guy's the rock, where he says, "Oh, don't sell your stock for $50,000 worth of gold." That guy should sue him. What an idiot this host is. Oh my God. So I'm getting really violent about these idiots that are sitting there going, well, gold isn't real. It's not. It's insurance. It's a hedge. It's a fucking asset like anything else. It's an investment like just like Rolex. Is Rolex an investment? What is an investment? It's something that you're going to make money on. Rolex, investment. Mantle cards, Montana Rookie, that Mahomes card, they're all investments in the fact that you're buying them and they're going to go up in value, or at least, should I answer potential spam? Nah, I don't think so. So at what point, are they realizing it? Here, this is $25.58 for gold now. And people are still going to think, well, it's going to come down. So I was listening to this show yesterday. Can it come down to 1800, 1900? And they go, well, anything's possible. And I'm like, no, it can't, moron. It's not. It's going up to its true price because they're blowing up COMEX. This little thing called brics is gold-backed currency. The demand for gold is through. How the fuck's gold supposed to go down? Well, because they don't understand COMEX is specifically paper and it's all price fixed. They don't understand that. They think it's a real trend that gold gets up and our silver was $50 an ounce and came down. So they think that's what'll happen. They're so stupid. It's hard to listen to. No, idiots. It's because of they're blowing up COMEX. So silver gets to a free market because gold's going to be so expensive. You can't afford it anymore. I'll buy, give me 1,000 ounces of silver because I need to protect myself from the dollars out. But there's no way in hell this is inflation or a hedge against inflation. I am so sick of that. That is not what gold is. It's a fucking asset and it's an investment, just like anything, just like Microsoft. How is it any different than Microsoft? Is Microsoft the hedge against inflation? I'd say no, because it's still in dollars. And when there's inflation, Microsoft's going to get their ass kicked just like everybody else in paper. This is the whole point of the Titanic. Anything in paper is going to get killed. The only thing is the real stuff, the Rolex, the Mantle card, and obviously gold and silver or your Picasso. It'll get revalued in gold, except for gold and silver will then not use the dollar as its function. It'll be the function. It'll be the medium of exchange. That was Hitler's only thing. He never really took the gold and made money out of it. He just hid it in the salt mines for some reason. Luke, they have to make gold, silver legal tender in the U.S. It is legal tender. It's in the Constitution. It is legal tender. But that's the only hope, right? They can't keep using toilet paper and CBDCs. If they're paper and they're not backed by gold, they're still there's nothing difference between holding this toilet paper and digital toilet paper. There's no difference in it. If it ain't backed by gold, it has no value. And as I showed you in that one, I can't show you that video again because they blocked it. But the mafia in Europe, how do they sell their drugs? Oh, they're going to use credit cards, CBDC cards, or they use money. The mafia will never let the dollar go away because that's how they live. That's their heartbeat. I'm going to sell you some drugs and you're going to pay me in cash. Then I'm going to go launder the money. And if you think that's going away, you're out of your fucking mind. How can that go away? Is the mafia going to let it go away? Really? Don Corleone is going to let it? Yeah, we don't need money anymore? Bullshit. How can that possibly happen? There is no way the money's going away. And I'm getting sick of people saying, oh, the money will go away and CBDCs and everything else. Fuck that. That if CBDCs will be like Bitcoin, if you want it, you can use it, but you can still use good old cash. It isn't going anywhere. So if you go to your bank or you go to your gold guy, just mention that. Hey, what do you hear about cash going out? He'll laugh at you. Gold is legal. It's as legal as a Rolex or a Mantle card. What's the difference? It's an asset. Is Bitcoin legal? The governments don't say Bitcoin's legal, but it's got a value. It's going to go to zero, but why is the gold legal or illegal? As far as I'm concerned, it's totally legal. And I showed you Andy Shackman. He finally did something worthwhile where he was explaining if you just take I think it's 24 ounces of gold, there's no 1099. The same thing with silver. 35 ounces of silver, there's no 1099. And there was one for bars and one for coins. So just cash in 10. By the time we're ready to cash, it'll be 20,000 an ounce anyway. And who knows what the new law will be. But as far as I'm concerned, gold can never be illegal because It's like saying the Rolex is illegal. It's an asset. What do you mean it's illegal? The dollar should be illegal because this is junk, but who knows? Um, I mean, you should be able to redeem it in banks. I don't know about that. We know we can redeem it at 5 Mile and Haggerty at my coin store. That I know I can do. I'm not sure if the banks will do it. They're really not set up to take it. And then what's the value? And then that. So I don't know. I would like it to be that easy. And maybe we go to Switzerland and we go to visit Egon or Barcelona and we find a jewelry store and trade it in there. Or I trade it in at my store. I'll always be able to trade it in there. He said, we might have to give you a check. I said, well, that's okay. I'll take a check for $50,000. And that's why I need banks being open. How do you close branches of banks so you get a check for 25 grand? What do? Put it in the ATM? Wait, I want the cash for the 25 grand. I don't want it in an ATM. So this is really strange. If the branches close, how do you get your 25 grand out? Or in your buddy's case, how does he get his 4 million out before it goes to zero? Oh, okay. Well, put it this way though. Can I take this to a bank? No, I can't take this to a bank. I have to go to somebody who I can go on eBay or a sports card show, and there's got to be a buyer for it. Same with my Canadian club, same with the Rolex. Can't take a Rolex to a bank. So I don't know that you would take gold and silver to a bank. What I do think is you would take you will find if you have to go to eBay or you have to go to a trade show that sells gold and silver, or you go to the jewelry store that has gold and silver. That would be that. I don't see why that would change. They're going to want the gold and silver because there won't be any out there. It's gone. Gold's now 10,000 an ounce. They're looking for it. They want it because there's people wanting to buy it. So you come in with 3 ounces of your Eagles, here's 30,000. Thank you. And then he sells it for, whatever the premium is at the time, 3,100. And he makes his 300, 400. Well, if it's dollars or whatever, if he's even available, if we really think third dimensionally, what's he going to give you for it? When the dollar goes out, then what do? We don't want to get it dollars for it. So it's worth 5,000. I'm looking for 25.60, 29.87 silver. Come on, boys. Get the 30. Let's see, $33 silver. And then we can see that run. So that's the thing. What do we get for it? I'll have to really do some heavy lifting on this one. So the dollar's gone because we know it's printed. It's just a matter of when it's gone. And I got gold. I don't know what it's worth because it's not in dollars. What do I do with it? How do I, I guess I go to Capital Grill and say, here, I'd like to, me and Luke will have some steaks. This ought to cover it. What are things priced? I mean, we're going to need a medium of exchange, and it's not going to be coins. That's what the Romans had, were gold and silver coins, but it's got to be, this is fine as a medium of exchange because it's portable. It's got to be portable. So that, but I got to be able to go to the bank, because if I sell a coin, but I don't know what the banks will be, right? The digital dollar won't be worth anything. Gold will be its own value, not priced in dollars. So I don't know. It says chat disconnected. Please wait while we reconnect you. And then it says I'm reconnected. So if you're trying to leave a message, it should take now. I don't know why it's being disconnected and reconnected. I have no idea. They do a lot of stuff. I have no idea what they're doing. I'm disconnected and I'm waiting to be reconnected. I don't know why I keep getting disconnected. Maybe somebody's texting and I'm waiting to get, so my chat's off. Now it's back on. Okay. So that's going to be the key, is what is the new money going to look like? My first thought is they'll come out with USD2 because we don't have gold. And that'll be worthless. That'll last 6 months. CBDCs, the banks will never go for it. What it was, everybody going to carry a CBDC credit card? Oh, I did book the trip to Italy. I got a nice hotel. Let me show you, Luke. So I'm staying at this one. The Hotel Torrance Saracena in it's in Prelano, Italy. It's on that Gulf coast. So it looks like a nice looking hotel. I booked it now because that's the one thing, because these villas are like $20,000. You got to be kidding me. I bought another ounce today as well. I feel like this is the last opportunity. Days like today, $50 increase will turn into 100. Yeah, I definitely understand that. I can't find. All right, here it is. So this is the hotel. I think it's either a hot tub or a swimming pool. I'm not sure. But look at that. Look at these views. Now, my room is not look at this. My room is not, I don't have a water view. I got an inside view. That's the problem with bookings. But I've asked, nice room. I don't know if my room's that fancy. I doubt it. They usually, the ones on booking are little cheap rooms. Go down to the water. There's breakfast. And the breakfast is included in the fee. I mean, look at these views I've got. It's unbelievable. Nice looking hotel. And the funny part is that this is the best value I could find. I'm looking, they're villas. It's $20,000 for the week, $30,000 for the week. I'm sitting there going, well, okay, maybe we can't stay there. And I find this one for 11, and then I take it for 12 because then I can cancel if I need to. At least gave me that option. I got a October 1st. I can otherwise just take it. The flight's only, I want to say $690 or something like that. And Jenna's flight from Warsaw is $120. But I think she's going to have to pay for her bag somehow. You bought another, okay. I feel like this is like, yeah. Live stream from Italy coast. Look forward to that broadcast. Yeah, I'll be doing that. Yeah, well, the problem is the room will not have that view, unfortunately. I did ask for it. So if there's some sort of cancellation or some way that if this type of room gives you the water view, which it probably doesn't, probably the more expensive, rooms get that view, and I got the inside view, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that I can get that water view, even if I have to pay a few $100s more when I get there. I've asked in my notes, I said, can I get a water view? Yeah, that would be nice. Teaching class. Well, I could teach class at that hot tub or pool or pool, whatever it is. Or I could even do it from the beach, I guess. Because once I have the charge, I can take the laptop where I go. And I do need this. So you always need this plug for Europe, Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Caribbean. So you plug in your cord into here, and then you plug this into the wall. And so I can charge my phone and my laptop every day. You can try to ask for an upgrade when you check in. How much per night? Uh, yeah, I can do that. So it's $1,200. So it's 7 nights. I leave on the 8th. I get there on the 9th. There's a ferry I can now help me out here, Luke. So I can take a ferry from the Naples airport to this section. And then the question is, okay, how do I get to the hotel? Do I have to, should I ask at the airport? Should I ask at the boat? How do I get to the hotel? I suppose I can taxi from when they let me off to my hotel, but I'd like the boat. It's a ferry, I guess. And it's only 12 euros instead of like 100 euros on a cab to take me. It's like an hour drive, but it's a half-hour ferry boat to from it. So I don't know how long it is from the airport to the ferry boat. That's another question I have. So I could Uber from the airport to the hotel. It's like 100 euros or something, which whatever. I mean, who cares? I just purchased a flight to Denver for 608. Really? So I can go to Italy cheaper than you can go there. This is hysterical. Does that seem like a lot? $608 to go to Denver? Why so much to go to Denver? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Is that, I assume, for business, or are you going to a Bronco game? Are you going to the Steeler Bronco game? Is that what you're doing? What's the status of Russell Wilson? Is he starting, or are we going to watch Justin Fields throw 5 interceptions? Anyway, so economics is all about listening to what the market says, the people who have the money. People go to work, they have money. And then what you do is go, what do you want? Oh, you want an airplane, you want a cab, you want an Uber, you want Chinese food, you want a pizza. And then you go, and that's the business you go into, is what people want. Now, everybody needs food to survive. Everybody needs clothes to survive. So that's why you see so many clothes stores, so many restaurants. There's fast food, there's regular, there's grocery stores. That's why you see so much of it, because that's what people need to live on. So you could go into those markets. You know, the demand for the food is there, but you have a lot of competition. And I think the key to life is competition. Competition's great. We can compete with whoever, and it benefits the consumer because he gets something. If I'm going to compete with Joe for Canadian Club, right? So I'm going to take my Canadian Club and compete with Seagram's. I got to make it. Well, it's got to be better than theirs. It's got to be cheaper because I want more sales. So I got to make the price cheaper. And who does it benefit? The customer. Wow, I get this really good whiskey and it's a lot cheaper than Seagram's. And then Seagram says, fuck you. And they lower their price. And then you get to where the market is. And that's the beauty of capitalism and competition. The thing with capitalism is the competition, and that's how we all benefit. And that's not what you get when you got communism and socialism, where the government dictates prices. They kill competition. Without competition, you don't have a market or an economy. You're fucked. So that's what I'm seeing is when Kamala Harris sits there and goes, "Oh, I'm going to price fix the medicine, and I'm going to price fix this, and the middle class will be able to buy a house." Well, you fucking can't do anything. If you would allow the competition and stop taxing it, and it's like it's not a crime. The rich shouldn't pay tax. In fact, nobody should pay tax. The only tax we should pay is sales tax. There should never be a tax on income. We go earn the money, we should keep our money. Why do you come out, government, with your hand out, taking part of my money? You didn't earn it. You don't benefit. You benefit, you steal it from me, and I don't get a benefit from it because you're so fucked up with your things. Like education, so bad. I'd be scared to take my kids to school for fear of God knows what they're going to learn. It's going to be shit. It's going to be boring. It's a waste of their time. I talked to Daria. I said, how's your daughter doing with school? I bet she hates it. She says, yeah, she hates it. So you're taking the kids, and just fucking them over because they're going to school, they don't learn anything, and they're bored, where they could be doing something productive and thinking and learning math or learning things they want to learn about. That's what school is supposed to be, right? So it's really a shame, but that's what you get in communism and socialism, which is virtually the same thing. When government gets in and starts dictating prices and costs, we're all fucked. That's why it's called laissez-faire economics. Leave it alone. Let the market control what the customer wants. You want Chinese food? I'm going to make Chinese food. That's it. Free trade. Nobody, no tax. Just I'll make it. It cost me $8. I'm going to charge you 11. You go, yeah, that's fair. And you make $3 for the food, and I get a good meal, and it's good quality because you're competing with the other 100 Chinese restaurants. Everybody fucking wins. And if I want to open up another Chinese restaurant, I can compete. Or if I want to open up a hamburger place, I can compete with the other hamburger places. Maybe I make things more expensive or less expensive. I can compete with Capital Grille. That's the beauty of it. And then you'll have a better. You got Chris Drew Steakhouse and Buckus Steakhouse and Mike Ditka Steakhouse. Everybody on the Bears has a steakhouse. And and who benefits us? We work hard to get paid because we develop a skill that somebody wants to pay us for. All right, Luke, taxi when you get off the ferry. The boat ride will be cool. Yeah, and it's cheap. So I thought, yeah. Now, how far is the boat from the airport? Hopefully not too far. You're going on business. Looks like Fields. Okay. So here's how I would bet the game. When I see Fields with that defense, I look at it as Pittsburgh's not going to score any points. What's the spread? Pittsburgh's playing Denver. Somehow they're favored with Fields, and the over-under is 36.5. And I'd go, okay, where are the points coming? You got Fields against Knicks. Now, in about 10 weeks, Knicks will kill him. Right now, Knicks is still learning. Fields is clueless, and, where are the points going to come from in this? And that's Pittsburgh will play good deal. They'll probably score on a defensive touchdown. That's how I analyze the game. If you got two worthless core. Well, Knicks is good, but Fields is worthless. And you got a great defense. How are you going to get points? I did that last week with the Minnesota Giant game. I put a big bet in under, and it was what was the spread? It was 41.5, and I put under, and it was 28-6 was the score. And my spread, I didn't put a score down. It was 28-6. What I tend to do, like, I'll put my own score in. I put what I think's going to happen. And then I see what the line is. And then, there's no way they're going to hit 36. How the fuck how are they going to score 36 points? I mean, because Pittsburgh's got a great defense. So Denver's not scoring. And Denver Fields, Pittsburgh's not scoring. So you're gonna get no points in the game. So I mean that's just the way logic works there. Let me just write that down so I don't forget to bet it. It'll be a good game, Cincinnati and Kansas City. I think Cincinnati's pissed off, but I don't know. Xavier Worthy or whatever, the guy from Texas, makes Kansas City a whole lot better. So I don't know. That'll be an interesting game. But anyway, that's the whole thing. It's just like Luke's brother, right? He's selling tickets. Is there a market for it? Right? I'm sure there's competition for him. So he's got to keep his price at a certain level and beat the competition, but the demand raises his price. And this is what JP Morgan, the whole thing's about competition, right? Well, what does JP Morgan want? He wants monopolies. He doesn't want competition. Now, in theory, that makes sense. Who wants competition? But in reality, we want competition. JP Morgan's fucking everybody over because he's printing the dollar to death because he's the one with the printing press printing the dollars. He owns the central bank. So if that's the case, we want competition for the money. If you had competition for printing 5 different money, you had the JP Morgan money and you had the Chase money and you had the Wells Fargo money. Believe me, with the competition, you would never have inflation. Because what would they do? Well, Wells Fargo would go out and buy gold and say, our money's backed by gold. And Chase would do the same thing, which would force JP Morgan to do it. That's why he wants the monopoly. Because if he's got the monopoly, then nobody's can be cute and come out with gold-backed currency, which everybody wants. That's the problem with having monopolies. So if that's the way it used to be in like the 1800s, they used to have 5, 6 banks creating their own money, and therefore it was competition. And if one printed themselves to death, you bought the others, and that's what it was until they went with gold-backed currency in 1879. And that's the whole key to it. That's why everybody's fucked, because there's no competition for the dollar. It's a monopoly. Probably George Soros, JP Morgan, whoever. And that's why everybody's fucked, because nobody knows. There's no choice. I can't buy another currency. I can buy brics, or I can buy a euro versus a dollar, but I can't use the euro here in America, and they can't use the dollar in Europe. So really, in America, I can only use this piece of toilet paper. That's why we kind of got to go buy the gold on the side and say, I'm buying gold. I'm getting out of the dollar. That still is the competition, and they don't want the competition. Why they want to print it to zero serves no purpose of the monopoly guy, because now his dollar is going to be worthless. And it's the same thing as it's that's why BRICS is like, we'll be the monopoly. We're going to use gold. Now, Africa wants gold-backed currency. We can all have gold-backed currencies. That's the beauty of it. And that doesn't need competition. You can't compete with gold. That's the end of it. So from that standpoint, what the fuck are you doing? Printing all, that's why I believe George Soros is involved. They're all printing the dollar to zero. China, Japan, the British, Swiss, the euro, and the US and Canada are all printing their dollar to zero. We see what Zimbabwe, Venezuela did, and these other, Greece and Germany and Rome and these others. It's not something that can be a monopoly, the dollar, blatantly. I mean, that's really the point. Luke, we have our 3 kids out of the public government school, the government monopoly school system, you forgot. Hybrid homeschool, Christian academy program, in class 3 days a week, home Mondays and Fridays. I wanted to homeschool my kids, and this is back I got married in the 90s. So this would be the late 90s. As soon as I got my master's in 95, my eyes were wide open that you don't want to send your kids to public school. And this is one of the reasons I got divorced, because my ex didn't want to do it. I'm like, you're fucking the kids up. The kids aren't going to learn anything, and it's going to be a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And near the end, the kids were out of their minds, because they'd go to school all day, come home and do all this homework. And why are they giving them so much homework? So the kids can't relax and can't think and can't learn. I mean, we did have my daughter in fast in softball and then fast pitch. They liked doing that, but the otherwise it was crazy. It was just come home from school, have dinner, and then go do homework for 3 hours. What the fuck do you have homework for? What did they do in class? Didn't they give you? When I went, they'd give us homework. It'd be like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'd do it in class. By the time class was done, my math homework was done. I didn't have homework, but I was very fast, right? So that's the other problem. Exactly, the monopoly schools. Schools are a monopoly run by the communists. They teach them crap. Why does nobody know about gold? Everybody thinks there's people are stupid. They don't know about gold. They're not stupid. They didn't learn it. How do you know anything about something you didn't learn? That's what I'm doing is I'm teaching because nobody learned it. And if you want to understand what's going on and save yourself, you can get educated. Simple as that. But this is such bullshit. The whole government monopoly thing. And, and it's funny is, you hear all these commercials. Well, I'm going to bring costs down. How the fuck are you going to bring costs down? Do you even know how costs are created and how prices are created? And you can't bring costs down. Only the manufacturer or the person selling the good can bring the cost down. So I sell my Teaserking picks $100 for a week for all the pro and college. You're going to bring my cost down. How? You're going to make me sell them for 50? I'm going to tell you to fuck off. I'm not selling them. I'm selling them for what I want to sell them for. That's the market. You're the consumer and I'm the producer, and it's my service I'm selling. And that's what I sell it for. Just like gold, you've been trying to force the gold price down. Well, we'll make it, we'll keep it at 1,500. We'll keep it at 7. It went to 800. It went back down to 2. We'll keep it at 200. And then it kept growing because of the free market wanting it. So the price kept going up and up and up. Now it's out of control because at the end of the day, the free market always wins. Because demand, the cheaper you keep gold, the more the demand is. So if gold was at its real $20,000 an ounce price that it should be at, well, let's say 10, all right, $10,000 an ounce, which is its true value at least, then you wouldn't have everybody running to get it because they wouldn't have the money to buy it. So we are so lucky that we can buy silver at $30 an ounce and gold 21, 22, now at 20, 25, 50. So now it's 26.75 probably. So we were so lucky that we could buy what we can buy and then boom. So our investment, as we call it, not as these idiots call it, gold's not an investment. Oh, really? Oh, it's just a hedge against inflation. It's just insurance. Go fuck yourself. Insurance doesn't go up in value, right? So if you have car insurance, it doesn't go up in value. The premium goes up, but it doesn't go up in value. But wait, gold's going up in value every fucking week. 2,300, 2,400, 2,500, 2,600, probably tomorrow. Why? What kind of insurance does that? Oops, I guess it's an investment. And I guess it's the most undervalued because these idiots have been keeping it out of the free market in trying to price fix it, which is now blowing up. So that's what we know. And that's why we're just saying, just be patient. Just be patient. We'll get to its real price. This is a joke. $30 for this is a joke. Add at least a zero, but it's really add at least 2 zeros to this, right? Make it like there's probably about 2,000 an ounce. And people don't believe it because they're so fooled by the Madoff scheme and the COMEX price fixing that they don't think silver can be worth $1,000. Oh, it's never been over 50. It's controlled, you idiots. That's why it's never been over 50. So gold, wait a minute. So gold's 25.58, and yet silver's just supposed to be 30. Like it's not supposed to go up in value as the dollar. So if the dollar's going out and gold's going up, why isn't silver going up? Oh, it's price fixed. So silver should be going up as Coca-Cola goes up, as gold goes up. Silver should be going up. Then these idiots try to explain like what is it, disinflation or deflation. Well, the housing prices are going down. Look at the deflation. Yeah, because people can't afford them. So if there's no demand and there's people trying to sell them, they have to lower their price to get to the market. If the market's down here saying, I'm only going to give you 200,000, that's all I can afford. You're trying to sell a house for 400 grand. Guess what? You're going to lower, if you want to sell it, you're going to lower it to 200,000. Just what I did with Italy. I looked around, those hotels are too expensive, 1175. Okay, that's fine. I went with that hotel. That's fine. That's what the market said. I'm at about 1,000, but I'm going for 7 days. So it's like 100, and then you get these taxes. I love that. The VAT tax. What the fuck is that? So, it's roughly 150 a night or something, which is, I'm going to Italy and these villas are 20,000, but that's what the market did. They set their price at what they could get. And I went in now based on, there might be a city 2 miles away where I could get a hotel for $700. That's just as nice. I don't know. But I think in that whole corridor, I noticed a lot of houses and villas that are rented out and stuff like that. And I kind of used to a hotel. I want to get my breakfast. I do that here enough. I don't really want to go on a vacation and have to cook my meals and go to the grocery stores and all that shit. So, but that's what the market is. I went for the airplane ticket. I think it's $770 or something. Fine. I'm expecting to pay $1,000. You're way under market. Let me lock in that I'll buy that plane ticket. So I'm going to take the plane that's going Detroit to Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt to Naples, and then I'll boat from Naples to wherever the hell I can get to. I keep forgetting the name of the city because it's not like Rome or Venice. It's not even Palermo. It's just some little name. So, but again, it's what the free market. I'm going to go there. There's going to be restaurants. All right. I don't mind paying $10, $15, $20 a meal. I do mind paying $100 a meal. So I'm going to find where the market is. But I think I don't know what it'll be, but I'm sure there's $15 restaurants and $100 restaurants. I'll stay out of the $100 restaurants. A chicken's a chicken for me. So, or a burger or whatever. The hotel, I get breakfast included. So that saves me with Jenna. It's like at least $20 a piece. So that's $40 a day. That's $300 I save because the breakfast is included. That's always the struggle on vacation, getting up in time for breakfast. It's 6 to 10 and you're like, I don't want to get up by 10 o'clock. I want to, I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat till noon. Right. So I kind of got to eat at 9:30 or 10. But that's what it is. We determine what price we're going to pay. So you can't tell me what I want to spend, and I tell the hotel what they can charge, because if you're too expensive, I don't stay with you. The villas that are 20,000, I don't stay with you. Now, there must be enough demand to fill them, or they couldn't charge 20,000. They'd be empty all the time. That's how the free market works. And you can't price fix it. Price fixing gets you in trouble because now they know what the price. Well, I can charge $11.50, and the American kid he'll take it. But that's the point. If you price fix it, you don't have any idea what the price is. That's what we got here. You've price fixed this on Comex, so we don't know what the real value is. However, we are smart enough to know it's much higher than this price. This is why I sing and dance out of the gold store, because I know this is not the real price. It's got to be much higher. You're price controlling this to 30, and then it's just, when does the price control end? And once that happens, then it shoots out. And that's, you can see happening in gold. And it will happen in silver. They can't control it. They need it for these fucking, the electric car batteries, but the solar panels. They have to have silver for that. And the beauty of silver is it wears out. So if you have, like Luke, he's got these boxes. The silver wears out. So when they go into the Tomahawk missiles and they go into the car batteries and they go into the solar panels, that's a lot of silver that gets gone. It's gone because it's not like gold where you just remelt it and reprint it. Like I say, this could be gold from Julius Caesar because it just gets remelted and redone. Silver wears out. You can't remelt it. It wears out. And then, so there's even less silver than they think. And they really don't know because a lot of people, I have some, Luke's got some, Mark McGuire's guy has a lot. A lot of people have silver. So they have but you have no idea. Just like gold. You don't know I have gold. You don't know Luke has gold. Same thing with silver. So really, how much silver is available? And that's really the key. So all these, Saudi Arabia and India need silver for the solar panels. How much is even available for them? And certainly at $30, they're licking their chops, but they probably can't find it. And that's when the price will go up, is the demand will force the price up. And that's what's happening in gold now. The demand for gold is forcing the price up because they don't have any. So, the demand, I need 10 ounces and I don't care. And they go, okay. And he starts selling it for more. And you got COMEX trying to keep the price down, but everybody else is selling it for more. So they can't. So that's the thing. That's why we buy gold and silver. That's why it's not insurance. It's an investment because it's artificially priced by the government, not by the free market. Oh, well, will we ever get free market? Yeah, but most people think it is free market. This is why I bitch that first lady I showed you, she used to work at the Fed. She's an Indian. She doesn't have any idea that it's not free market. She thinks it's free market. You work for the fucking Fed and you don't know the price of gold and silver is not free market price. It's priced by the government. You don't know this? Fuck me. Luke, silver is the money of gentlemen. Gold is the money of kings. Well, I think they're both the money of smart people. They're both real money. They're both real. They don't need like this. How does it get its value? Because the government says it is. How does this get its value? From the free market. I like the Buffalo side. From the free market. That's how this gets it, is what people are willing to pay for it. How does my Rolex get money? I don't have. How does the Rolex get money? How does my Mantle card? How is the market determined for the Mantle? It's free market. You just bought a plane to Denver. How is that priced? Free market. They're pricing at $680, and you're going, well, it's business. I'll pay for it. If you're going on a vacation, you probably wouldn't have paid $680. I'm going on a vacation. I'm looking at the price. If it's too expensive, if it was $2,500, I wouldn't go. $600 or $700, sign me up. Jenna's ticket from Warsaw is $125, and I got her one that's nonstop, so she loves it. She says, "Get me a nonstop one." So I did, but she's going to probably have to pay for her bag, but I don't know how to pay for it. We'll see. But the hotel was more important because it's not. There was a whole lot of expensive hotels. I didn't want to get stuck. It's going to be 10 grand for the week. Yeah, sorry, honey. We're gonna pitch this 10 on the beach, and we're gonna live there. So I'm glad it's a nice hotel, and we get breakfast, so it'll be nice. What we do, I don't know, but we'll just walk on the beach and shop, and just like what we do in Barcelona or Portugal. But yeah, I mean that's the problem. There's really no way to keep track of gold and silver. Supposedly, okay, there's 255,000 tons of gold. Okay. Do we believe it? I have no idea. How do you know? We have no idea. How much is out there that me and Luke and Russia and China have? It's probably close to 255,000 tons is probably already gone. That's why I'm yelling, going, you better buy it now. It's not going to be available. And it's sure as shit's not going to. You think China and Russia are going to keep the price down? No fucking way. They want a higher thing. Saudi Arabia wants a higher gold price for its oil, as does Russia. They don't want to be with the dollar because they're sanctioned and everything else. So they're like, you won't be able to sell to us. And Russia and China going, I can't sell to you now. You're sanctioning me and all these tariffs. I can't sell you to. So what's the difference? You're going to put 100% tariffs. The only thing you're doing with tariffs is you're hurting us. So how does it work? We buy things from every country, right? It all comes into America. If Japanese steel is cheaper, we buy that versus US steel. They can't compete. So it helps us. We can buy products made out of steel and the price is cheaper because we're able to buy the steel cheaper from Japan or China or whatever we're buying, shoes from China, golf clubs from China. They keep the cost down. If the US can compete with it, then we wouldn't need from China. So when Trump wants to do 100% tariffs, do you know who he hurts? He hurts us because now we can't get the Chinese golf clubs as cheap as we could have because of the stupid tariff. It ends up where China then is sitting there going, well, we can't sell to them anyway. We now have to pay an extra $200-300 for golf clubs or tennis rackets because they're now going to, if they're made in China, we got to pay this big tariff. And if they're not made in China, the U.S. can't compete with them. So we're going to have to pay U.S., which is much more expensive. So we're not going to buy as much. So the tariffs hurt us, the consumer. We can't buy things as cheap coming from China and or Russia. I don't know how much we buy from Russia. I guess the natural gas and the oil that Europe buys from them is there. And excuse me. And that's why you want free market. You want free market, no free trade, free market. If somebody can make something cheaper, it benefits the consumer. So Trump's sitting there, we can't compete. Well, then you can't be in business. Sorry, US Steel. If you can't compete with China and Japan, you got to go out of business. And we don't need US Steel. If we buy tennis shoes from China, we'll buy steel from China or cars or whatever. And then Europe wants to put a tariff on electric cars. I don't know why anybody would own an electric car, but they want to put a tariff on it. Well, it only hurts their own consumers. The Germans who want to buy an electric car now have to pay a lot more for it because of these stupid tariffs you're putting on there. What the fuck are you? They don't understand. They're trying to be protectionist. Well, this way the Germans can do the electric car. Yeah, at a bigger cost, that's going to hurt the consumer, and nobody's going to buy them anyway. Tesla's electric cars are $100,000. I showed you the video, I think yesterday or the day before. These people are pulling up to the charging stations and there's no charge. There's no electricity. There's nothing to charge. They're out. So what do you do with an electric car? Now, I guess we'll have the same problem if there's no gas or oil to put in our car. But who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit the oil company to have very expensive oil. That's why the oil is still pretty cheap here. Still low $3. They could make it people. Why don't you make it $20? Because people aren't going to buy it for $20. I mean, you would you wouldn't do as much. You'd go to work. I'd buy a bicycle to go to the gym or to go to the grocery store. I mean, you just can't afford to put your gas in your car. But then OPEC wouldn't like that because they can't sell anything. So they're going to produce all the oil, but they can't sell it. Again, that's free market. So they have to put the price at what we can afford so they can maximize profits. Welcome to Austrian economics, everybody. So all this bullshit, price fixing, and I'll make it cheaper and let government help. It's all bullshit. And we're all going to get fucked. So the thing with gold and silver is it'll keep our value. $100 in gold is going to be worth $100. It'll be worth more because as things in dollars fall apart, our gold's going to go up in value. This goes to the toilet paper goes to doo-doo, goes to nothing, and this goes from 30 to 300. Well, who won? Oh yeah, my insurance policy. My insurance just went up, but insurance doesn't go up. That's why I hate that. It's not insurance. It's a fucking asset, just like a Van Gogh and a Picasso and a Rolex and a Mantle card. That's what gold is. It's an asset. It's an investment. Absolutely. If you kill the price fixing, it would be at a much higher price. So, like I said, we're very fortunate that they did that, as we are now buying it hand over fist at this cheap price, especially silver at $30. But gold, I buy as much gold as I can because that's the bigger mover. Gold goes up $100. Silver was up $1 today. Gold was up $45. That's kind of my point in buying gold. That moves much faster, much higher. Now, on a percentage basis, silver going from 30 to 33 went up 10%. What's 10% in gold? Well, 2,600 would be $260. Well, gold doesn't move like that. Maybe it would in a free market. So that's why I kind of laugh at the percentage. Well, oh yeah, big deal. Silver went up $3, from 30 to 33. My gold went up $50. So who's better off, gaining the 50 or gaining the 3? On a percentage basis, the silver, but on a real basis, the gold. That's why I want you to buy more gold, and that's going to buy you a lot more. And again, they're just rocks. Yeah, I'd like to talk to that asshole. I'd clean these guys' clocks. I wouldn't back down. I'd be very stoic if I could meet these guys, and I'd put them away. It'd be one punch. It'd be Mike Tyson. You're an idiot. Goodbye. Anyway, so that's the point of the gold and silver. That's the point of the free market. You want the competition. Competition saves us. It drives the price down and the quality up. You can get better tennis shoes at a cheaper price. That's the whole point. So that's really what you're trying to do. Your clothes, you want competition. The hotel, competition. The air flights, competition. You want it in everything. So I will probably buy my flight either today or tomorrow, lock it in. I'm not too worried about getting the flight for that price. I'm going on a Tuesday, and coming back on a Wednesday. So that's not an issue. And Jenna's flight, I'm not worried about. It's 125. I mean, I can't believe it's 125 from Warsaw to Italy. Wow. Anyway, I'm just so glad she doesn't have to take a train or a bus ride, 12-hour bus ride from Berlin to Warsaw. Jesus Christ. And then a 20-hour train ride from Poland, from Warsaw to her city in the Ukraine. But that's what she's got to face. She's got to take that 20-hour train ride to get to Warsaw. It's just, I hate it. And then at least she can fly to Italy, and then we'll have to figure out, because we're leaving at different times, we have to figure out, I don't want to wait at the airport from whenever I get there till she gets there. I did that in Barcelona, but otherwise she'll just have to, maybe I'll Uber her or something. Have you met your girl before? Oh yeah, Jenna. Yeah, I met her a lot. We were in Barcelona together. No, I met her online. I went to the Ukraine and I got to know her. And then we went to Odessa together. We went to Lviv. We were supposed to go to Amsterdam. Amsterdam closed for that Christmas. So we went to Lviv. So I met her in Lviv, and then we went to Portugal, Lisbon, and then we went to Barcelona together. So yeah, I've been several times with her. I've known her for probably about 7 or 8 years. Daria, I've known for like 5 years. She's the one I'm trying to get to know. I'm trying to meet, but this fucking war, and she's right. If I flew to Russia, I couldn't use my money. I can't use my credit cards because it's U.S. So I don't know what I would do there. I guess I'd have to give her my money, but I don't want to use my cash. I want to use my credit card and pay later, because when it goes to zero, then I won't have to pay it. But so Dara is the one I haven't met, but we've known each other for years and mostly online, and we WhatsApp. We send each other videos and stuff. But no, I met the girls online, and then I went to visit them, and they're happy to meet a nice American. They think we're like the biggest. They think we're the biggest assholes, and we're all millionaires. Any European girl, especially Eastern Europe, Ukrainian, Russian, Romanian, they all think we're millionaires. It's crazy, and it's sad because they work. Like Daria works 12-hour days and she makes nothing. And like, that's why I don't talk to her sometimes. She's just at work. And like, oh yeah, I work an 8-hour day and I make 10 times what you make. And I have time to go to the gym every day and I can afford whatever I want to eat. And they can't. It's really frustrating. No, Jenna does not date other guys, and neither does Daria. No, they don't date other guys. Daria's busy with her daughter, and she doesn't. They don't want to. They want to. Jenna wants me, and she's mad when she found out about Daria. And said, well, you can date other guys. She said, no, I don't do that. Daria, she said, I said, are you seeing other guys? She says, I hate Russian guys. So as far as I know, they're not dating any other guys. Daria's waiting for me, and so is Jenna. That's why when I can take Jenna on a vacation, she's all excited. She gets go on a nice flight, stay in a nice hotel. We eat well, go to the grocery store. I said, what do you want? What can I bring you besides the fish oil vitamins? Because they're cheap here. And she says, just gold. Now she wants gold. Before she didn't want gold. Now she's starting to understand the gold. So no, they're free to date other guys, but they don't want to. I don't think they want to lose me, and I treat them very nice, which is very unusual for those girls to get treated like that. They don't trust their men, so and it's a money issue. Daria needs rent, and I help her, and she's all excited. And Daria needs. She said, "Well, can I get some clothes for the winter? Because it's cold in St. Petersburg." And here's some money. And then she goes and she's so excited. That's why I like about it. And same thing with Jenna. I need money to live. I need food. She says, if it wasn't for you, I'd be dead. And I go, I know that. That's why I help you. So I don't mind helping either of them. It's not a scam. For sure not with Jenna. I doubt with Daria. She's busy with the daughter, and she's not dating other guys. But they could if they want. See, if you give them freedom, they won't. Like if they say you can date other girls, I'd be like, no. I mean, I don't tell Daria about Jenna, but Jenna knows about Daria, and she's really jealous. But anyway, yeah. But they don't really want me to date anybody else either. But there's nothing I can do with Daria in Russia because it's a fucking war going on. If I go there, I'd be spied on. Like, why is an American? Why are you in Russia? We're at war with you. And she's got a point. I mean, if you think about it, nobody's going to care I'm in Italy or I stop in Frankfurt to go to Italy. Nobody's going to care. But yeah, if I went to Russia, I think that would raise a red flag for sure. Definitely unconventional, not the norm, but good for you, Professor. I'm not normal. I am not the norm. I do not do things normally, and I don't want to do things normally. I've seen the way normal is, and it's bullshit. I mean, people don't buy gold and silver. Now, I plan on settling down with one of the girls. I want to meet Daria first to see if we settle down, but to me, they're family, and it's just that's how it is. I think people are too insecure to have more than I was going to go to Irina, my Romanian friend. She's married with kids, so we don't fool around. And I said, well, I'm going to bring you some gold before, so you can have some. She says, well, I can only meet you for a half hour because of my husband. And I kind of told her to fuck off then. So you'll take my money, but when you won't meet me, like, I don't get that. Like, you can't have friends that are, if you're a boy, a girl, or a girl, a boy. I thought that was really rude. And I really haven't talked to Irina too much after that. It's like, I wished her a happy birthday, but what the fuck is that you're, you can't, you can bring your husband. I'm not out to get you. I'm out. I just want to give you some gold, meet the baby. Let's go to a nice dinner. That's all I'm trying to do. It's just, I don't know the husband, but that kind of offended me, to tell you the truth. I don't see what's wrong with that. I mean, you can't talk to a girl, even if she's married. I'm not trying to marry her, and I'm not trying to screw her. So I don't get that. I'm friends with her. I like her. She likes me. What's the problem? So I don't know. She liked me when I helped with her dad's. So I helped, her dad died, and she needed $500 for the funeral in Romania. So I gave her $500. All that was okay. You weren't married at that point. But then when I try to give you gold and I want to meet you, maybe, take the baby, we'll go to lunch. I mean, or bring your husband. I don't care. Then you won't meet me. So wait a minute. So you don't have a husband when you want me to pay for your dad's funeral. But when I'm trying to meet you and give you some gold and just say hi and hang out with you for a while, you have a problem with that. Well, it can't have two ways. So I just believe in having friends. And if they're girls, fine. And, if they're nice people, so what? I live on top of me are black people. And so I'm talking to the mother, and she started bringing up racism. And I said to her, I like nice people and I don't like mean people. I don't care the color of their skin. I just care if they're nice or not nice. But if I meet a nice girl, I don't really care if they're married or not. Bring your husband. I don't care. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just trying to be friends with you. I don't know why that's such a big thing. And I don't know why you can't talk to other girls or your wife can't talk to other guys. I don't get that. Sorry, it doesn't compute to me. But I don't go by any convention. The way I pick football and the way I buy gold and silver is I don't follow any rules. I do what I think is right and what's fair. That's all I do. So that's the problem. Anyway, so that's really economics. It's the same thing with women. I got two women, and so there's competition. So now let's see who wins, right? And they got me. They don't want to lose me. Jenna can't lose me. She'd be dead. Nobody else is going to help her with food and stuff. And the same thing with Daria. So they need me. But I'm nice about it. I don't, well, I'll give you money if you do this and that. I don't do that. My brother did. I don't do that kind of shit. Anyway, so to me, it's competition, and I think it's very conventional. I think that's what life is. It's all competition. How'd you choose your wife? Well, I would assume you dated more than one girl and then met your wife and said, well, she's better than the other girls. She's what I want to be with, and I'll marry her. That doesn't stop her. Well, I had friends before you, so why would I drop the friendship? Or you had other girlfriends before her, and you liked them. They're friends. Why would you drop the friendship? That makes no sense. So I don't know if I'm unconventional, but definitely, if anything, it actually makes more sense to do that. Oh, sorry, I can't talk to you anymore because I got married or I have a girlfriend. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. These rules these people make up are it's like public school. It's just all bullshit. Anyway, so BRICS, October 22nd. Believe me, if you want to join BRICS in 159 countries you need gold. And so they're all scrambling for gold. They all realize that the burden of the $36 trillion debt is going to blow up. They all understand that. People saying, "Oh, stay in stocks." That's how stupid they are. So you want to be conventional and buy stocks? That's really the funny part, because that's what everybody would tell you: buy stocks and mutual funds, and buy real estate, trust, annuities. That's what you should be in, not gold. Why would you be in gold? And that's the conventional wisdom. Just buy Apple and Microsoft. That's all you should do. Microsoft, I saw it like 400 something dollars an ounce, or a share. How the fuck is that worth $400 a share? Does that mean sales and profits are that big? Yeah, I doubt that. So when all these stocks start collapsing because of this recession we're in, lowering the interest rate will not save the recession, and it'll end the dollar, because you can't. It'll kill the value of it. So this guy doesn't know what he's doing. My wife and I went to see Michael Franti in Spearhead concert last night. Met Neil Walker, whose grandparents lived next to my family growing up. He was super cool guy, great guy. Am I supposed to know who Neil Walker is? You're still trying to meet Bobby. Professor, you would like Michael Franton, super positive. I like him if he likes gold. I'm at the point, if you don't like gold and you want to give me a hard time about it and say how the stocks are, I don't even want to talk to you. If you like gold, then I would have a conversation. So that would be it. Neil Walker played for the Pirates for years. Does he know Bobby? And so he must be a Bobby disciple then. Okay, I don't, the name doesn't ring a bell, Neil Walker for the Mets and Pirates. Now, if you said Willie Stargell, I'd probably know that, or Bill Madlock, or Keith Hernandez, Howard Johnson. He used to play for the Tigers before he played for the '86 Mets. But that's cool. I'm glad you met him. Second, younger now. He's 40. Oh, so this wasn't the '86 Mets. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't know who he is. There's a few baseball players I would know, but basketball, football, I would know a lot of football players. But that's good. I hope you had a good time. And anyway, I think that's it. I think it's time for dinner. I did the football show earlier. If you're interested, and no, the picks, you gotta come. You can either buy the picks, or you can I can do a class for you where we talk about the games and I give you picks. So the only way you're going to get my picks now is to join the class, $25 pro, $25 college, or you buy the picks for $100 a week, or for the month, or for the year. Otherwise, I'm not giving picks live. I'll give a free pick like I did last week. It was so much fun with Northern Illinois. It blew my mind that they won. I knew they'd cover, but to actually win the game I loved it. That was it. Okay, Luke, you too, and enjoy Colorado or Denver, and have a good time there. And maybe catch a Colorado Rocky game where they hit 600 home runs a game. I loved it. They beat the Tigers today 4-2. I was so happy, and they beat their only good pitcher, Stroud or something. So it was perfect that Colorado beat these radio people. Oh, the Tigers will make the playoffs, and it's like, dude, what are you talking about? So that's what's happening with that. So anyway, buy your gold, buy your silvers. Go jump into silver now, because gold's taking the lead. Silver is gonna follow. There'll be $100 silver soon. Anyway, have a good night. www.teaserking.com. And if you want to learn economics, anything like that, there's a class that I can do. I haven't done yet. People aren't signing up for it. I try to be pretty thorough in this class, but football, if you want my picks, you gotta sign up either for the picks or for the class. All right, www.teaserking.com. Have a good day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed and learned. That's the goal here. All right, take care. I'll see you tomorrow.